The points are shared at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. It ends Tottenham 2, Manchester United 2 in what was a crazy game, in particular in that second half where Spurs went from losing the game to potentially winning the game to ending up with a draw. Full, felt emotions, so stay tuned to the very end. I'll give my honest match reactions. I was there at the stadium, also my player ratings. First, if you're new, please like and subscribe. So, incredibly frustrating is how I'd put it. It could have been and should have been, in the end, a smash and grab victory against the run of play. So nearly got it. I mean, we would have taken a draw, let's be honest with you, here at half time. But to be ahead of the game somehow, and in the dying seconds to concede that late and in that manner through poor defending, it hurts. I mean, substitutes made a difference today, let's be honest with you as well. Turned 0 points, nearly 0 points into 3, but in the end 0 to 1. I think Frank deserves a lot of credit for his in-game management today. Brings on Tell, who scored, brings on Odebear, who gets an assist, brings on Adogi, who gets an assist, kept Richarlison on, who scored. Just a shame we couldn't hold on with that poor defending, which I speak about. So yeah, it hurts. But I think first half was poor. We were better in that second half. I still think overall, though, we've got to do so much better. That would have been such a big win before an international break. 2 home wins in a week, just what Frank needed. But so nearly got it as well. That's the thing. But to be fair, I thought United, they played well. I think they were there for the taking, maybe in points in that second half. I think they were a bit fragile when they made changes. I think they lost Cunha going forward. I think that was a real problem for them. Sesko was hardly on very long, so no, it's frustrating. But Mbamo in the first half continued his fine form. Player of the month last month in the Premier League in October, and really nice goal, good header. Allowed too much room. It was again frustrating the way we conceded, but good goal from Man United. Then 84th minute, Tell gives us a lifeline to pull it back to 1-1. What an amazing goal. Yes, he does get the rub of the green with the deflection, but you need the rub of the green sometimes as a player when you're struggling for confidence. He got it a little bit against Leeds, but still think it's a really good strike in my honest opinion. People disagree, but I think it's going in anyway. Richarlison as well. I mean, lovely assist from Odebear. I didn't realise to start with Richarlison got anything on it, but he did. He knew absolutely what he was doing. But when I say it's frustrating, of course, listen, conceded in the 96th minute always hurts, but the thing about this is it's so avoidable. Why is De Ligt free? He's probably going to be the first or second tallest in the box. It's shocking marking from the set piece from Tottenham. Really, really poor. All we really need to do, and I say, of course there's a little bit more to it, head the ball away, clear your lines, probably another 30 seconds and the game's done. But it's just that concentration, those fine margins in football. But we didn't do the basics towards the end of the game. We left De Ligt free. And Vicario, for me, if he's in front of his line, he saves that. It's a good header. It's a bullet header from De Ligt. But Vicario's behind his line, which, he saves it, but it's too late. So it's just, so avoidable, and that's what the frustrating thing really is. But we'll move swiftly into player ratings then. By the way, we wouldn't have deserved the victory if he got it. I would have taken it, of course, but it would have been a proper smash and grab. No complaints, though, from me. Player ratings, I'll talk you through them. Vicario, I'll give a 4. I think it's a fault for the second goal. I think some of his distribution was poor and wasn't really required to make too many saves that I can recall. But, quite a disappointing game from him. I think it was a fault there. So 4. Porro, I'll also give a 4. I think he was poor in this game. We usually look at Porro, I do anyway, and go really good crosses. You're really good offensively. Just didn't have it in this game. So his passes were poor and lack of awareness at times. So not his finest game. Romero, I'll give a 6. Got a yellow card with a moment of frustration. He lashed out when we went 1-0 down. In terms of a tackle, more than not abuse or anything like that. He lashed out with a tackle after a few minutes after the goal. So not his day, but even that, some of his tackling was superb, and I love that he come on the pitch to celebrate. We went 2-1 up, went absolutely mad. I love with Richarlison, but all for nothing, unfortunately, in the game. Well, for something, but not for the big prize in the win that we hoped for. Van der Ven, I'll give a 6. He wasn't quite himself with some of the passing today. Again, not quite his best, but I think there's one moment where he denies Sesko really well with his recovery run. Spencer, give a 5. If I'm honest with you, it should be lower. I'm a bit disappointed with him in this game. Having said that, I think it's important to remember, and it's easy to forget, he's a right back by name, by nature. That's his, bread and butter is the right back position. So he's done really well at left back up until now, but I just look at him and goes, he does this kind of drive, which is great, but then backwards or slows it down. Udogie for me adds a lot more balance, and he's better offensively than Jed Spence. I think it's time for Udogie to be Tottenham's left back again. I like Spence should be serious competition with Porro on the right hand side, but Spence to me just isn't the left back because he just isn't naturally right. He doesn't feel right going forward. He's good defensively, don't get me wrong. So not his best game though, Spence, in this one. Like I said, stick with the 5. Paulini, I'll give a 7. I mean, being criticised unfairly by Carragher. We know he's not got the this passing ability. It's not what he was brought in for, and it's not why he's here. I give him a 7. I thought he was very neat and tidy on the ball, on the dirty work. Didn't see too many of his tackles compared to how we usually do, but I sort of think he's neat on the ball. We had more possession, I believe, in this game. That's what it felt like anyway. I think it was about 53-54% according to a couple of different apps. They all say slightly differently, which doesn't help. We need a factual percentage check. But Sarr, I'll give a 6. I think, again, not his best game, but at times in the second half, when we started to turn it around, or nearly turn it around, I thought that he was more important, and just that engine room midfield. Just get to the end of the game. That's where Sarr's important. Even if he starts, got more legs, more energy than anyone else. Johnson, I'll give a 6. I think it's a frustrating day for him. There's several times where I think he just lacked that quality. That cross it was often poor. But at the same time, he did have a couple of good moments. For example, setting up Richarlison was one of them, and I think he was okay. Is the way that I'd put it. I think he still gets overall quite a lot of criticism from the fan base, but the reality is, I think it was sensible to start him in this game, considering what we were up against. But no, it wasn't his finest game, but he was just okay, so I'll give him a 6. Simmons, I'll give a 7. For me, he was our brightest player in the first half. Went off it in the second half. Fans not necessarily in and around me because I was in the upper shelf today. Just got back from the game, by the way. But in the south stand, a lot of boos with his change, which saw Xavi Simmons come off and Matthias Tell come on. I can understand it. I didn't boo, but I can understand it at least. But Frank proving them wrong, because Simmons was ineffective in that second half, and Tell comes on, as we find out, as we know, but we'll discuss in a minute, I should say. He scored. Huge impact on the game. But Simmons, I give a 7. Faded in the second half. Richarlison, this is a proper mixed one, really. And I'm going to give him a 7, which almost doesn't feel right. I think a couple of big chances that first half he's got to score. But one thing you can't question, you never can with Richarlison, even if you're your biggest critic or your biggest hater, biggest lover, you all feel the same. That he works hard, gives 110% for the badge. That's a big part in football. It's not, all of it. It's not the golden ticket, but it's a very important part of that ticket. It's very important to have that fight, that grit. And I think some players do lack that. Fight for the badge, non-stop pressing. But he's got that high rating because of the goal he scored. I think he knows a lot about it. It's probably going in any way we don't know, of course, from Odobert. We never really know. We can guess and we can analyse. It's difficult to really know. We can assume and look at probability. But I think that it's a very nice header from Richarlison. He just kept going. I think at times he was frustrating this game, but he did do a couple of good bits. One is a weird one and a frustrating one probably for him, unless it's an injury, come off at half time. Having said that, he had no impact at all. Couldn't get in the game in the first half, and you've got to be ruthless at this level, not being funny. If you're not making an impact, off you come, or find a way to change your position or change what you're doing to get you involved. Frank chose, boom, off, which is crucial. We had nothing on that left-hand side in the first half, nothing from Spence, nothing really too much from Richarlison. We needed a change, and Odobert coming on was essential, and Moani coming off made sense. Richarlison going in the middle, it made sense. As simple as that. Substitutes then, Odobert coming on, looked really good. I mean, I thought it was his goal, but turned out to be his assist in the end. I'll give him an 8. Looks really bright. I've been really impressed with him in the last few weeks. Long may it continue. Udogie, I give an 8. Just again, proving my point, and others as well, that he should be starting now, regularly going forward as Tottenham's starting left back. Of course, not going to start every game. Rotation is important, rest is important. But for me, he should find his way back into this first 11. He's very good going forward. Definitely a better wing back, of course, than full back in the 4. He's better in the 5, but still can be very good. I think he's got, in need of improvement is a better way of putting it, defensively for Udogie. Maybe being a little bit more, calm-headed. Not necessarily, I'm not talking about this game, I'm talking in general, but I do like him. I think he has more potential on that side. I think he's the best left back that we've got. I like Spence. He's a very good right back and can step in and do a job at left back, but he can't cross from that side, and gets a bit lost for me, especially going forward. You notice it when he goes forward. He's not comfortable passing or crossing on one side. That just limits us and slows down any attack. Ben Scarfe, give a 5. Didn't really get to see him for long, but come on and done okay. Tell, I'll give an 8. I thought, come on, of course, got that goal. And like I said earlier, Rob the Green, yes, with the deflected goal, in my opinion, still going in. And it's good to see him now, a few goals to his name. And hopefully, you see him playing with a little bit more confidence as a result of that. Danso non-applicable, I just will say, and I haven't seen anyone really say it yet or provide an update. I hope Romero's okay. You assume he will be. The way he celebrated and come on the pitch after that second Tottenham goal. Unfortunately, not to hold on to it. It would have been nice, but we didn't. Those are my player ratings and thoughts. So my overall thoughts are, let's be honest with you, at half-time would have taken it. So I'm not too angry. I'm just a little bit deep down disappointed that we didn't do the basics to see the game out. This is what a Frank team's about, and we've been very good under Frank defensively, seeing games out, being hard to beat, and we got ourselves in a really favourable position somehow against the run of play. Didn't deserve it. We were 2-1 up in that second half. We just couldn't quite hold on to it. So frustrating. Get involved in the comments below. Your man, the match, your thoughts of the game, anything. I think Man United were there to take in the second half, but they remain unbeaten under Ruben Amorim. They've definitely come leaps and bounds recently, but I still think they were there to beat. I think the changes disrupted the rhythm for United. I think Amorim nearly got it wrong. Frank got his changes right. Amorim got the wrong. Nearly got us back into winning the game. Complete the comeback, which we did, but then it was reversed. So a draw, better than the situation at half time. But hey ho, it's a draw. The points are shared at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. If you're new to the channel, please like and subscribe. I also met Peter Crouch today, which is absolutely fantastic. It's a big shout out to him before going on air to TNT Sports. Stop for a very quick photo. But a massive come on you Spurs. International break now. Reminder, I've said it before, say it again. The content will continue throughout the international break. Tottenham content, England content, Premier League content, FPL content. FPL content will slow down a little bit. But I'll be covering all the England games, all the Spurs women games, the academy, loan updates, Spurs, transfer news, thinking about the January window, season so far, reviewing lots of different bits. So if anything, there'd be nearly as much as content as usual. So like, subscribe, and join one of the biggest growing and fastest growing, is a better way of putting it, Tottenham fan channels right now on YouTube. Be part of the community. You mean a lot. Thank you so much. Come on, you Spurs.